Hey folks, welcome to Guitar Daily. It's Nick Granville coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. So today I thought I'd talk about this, the Pearson Hyper S guitar. I've done a quick kind of look at it. I've had this guitar for about a month now, but I haven't done a demo yet because I haven't really had a chance to use it until then. I was on the show We Will Rock You, and this wasn't the instrument I started with, so I stuck with what I had, which was my poor Reed Smith. But now I've kind of had a chance to sort of embed it in, change the strings, get used to it, and sort of talk about my thoughts about it. It's an interesting instrument. It took me by surprise, actually, to be honest. There's a couple of things. First thing I'll talk about is the specs. So, headless guitar. The strings actually come through here. Now, Dom's told me this is going to change and there will be a metal plate there instead. But for now, that's kind of how it's done. Interesting. It has two humbuckers with a coil tap switch here, so you can coil tap them. Three-way blade selector, volume, tone, and just an input for your guitar. Your strings come through here and they're actually locking. There are these Geiger locking tuners on the back. Very unusual design. I've never kind of seen a headstock less guitar, but with the tuners behind here, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But two humbuckers, 24 frets. That was unusual for me. I've never had a 24 fret guitar before. Roasted maple neck, very nice. I think it's rosewood for the fingerboard, very nice. That's probably my favorite thing about it. Yeah, so interesting acrylic top. It's not joined at these points here because you have strap buttons there, so you can put a strap on. So there is a bit of flex, but it doesn't seem like it would break. Metal, I guess it's aluminium. You've got all your electronics available here, so you can see kind of how that all works. Cool. So, very unusual guitar. I've never seen anything like this. I applaud Dom for trying to do something different. Because do we really need another Strat or another Les Paul? Do you know what I mean? Sure, those designs can be improved on, but, you know, that's kind of it. So, coil tap. So, if I go to the... and then I can coil tap it. And they sound decent. So that's very usable, right? It's a usable coil tap. I don't normally, tapped humbuckers aren't necessarily like single coils, but I like having the option there. Not that it's ever going to replace a single coil guitar, but it gives you another option. My favorite thing about this guitar is this neck. I really like this roasted maple neck, and it doesn't have a very plasticky finish. I'd describe the finish as feeling kind of almost like just like it's got a light oil finish. Actually, it could even be an oil finish, I'm not sure, but that feels really nice on the hand. It's a good size. It's not small and it's not big either. It's kind of right in the middle where I like guitar necks to be. One thing I like about this headstock is I found with a lot of headless guitars I've played before, my hand doesn't know when to stop. I get to the end and I feel like I'm going to slide off because they're generally straight and then just cut. This one having just this little bit here and a little bit kind of rise, your hand knows when you're getting to the end of the guitar. And this guitar is super comfortable too, because there's not a lot of body to this bit here. You can see this bit is kind of set in. It actually can sit very comfortably. I kind of want to sit like this most of the time, but you can see how the guitar just wants to sit naturally in a nice kind of position. I find it super comfortable. I was surprised about that. I thought having like a piece of plastic here and a piece of plastic here, that those two would kind of dig into your leg, but your leg doesn't know that that's a guitar that's made of two parts or just solid, because it just kind of sits where it should. Feels balanced. Yeah, super comfortable. Like, that was the biggest surprise to me, is just how comfortable this guitar is to play. 24 frets takes a little bit to get used to. I'm kind of used to 22 frets, which is what most of my guitars have. I find that when I'm up here, I keep going to go, oh yeah, that's right, I've got a couple more frets I can play. Just kind of cool. Big thing to talk about, tuning of this instrument. I find this tuning really takes a lot to get used to. I'm quite a traditionalist in my taste and my way of doing things. I'm so used to just going like this to tune. Now I have to kind of either do this, and I talked to Dom about it, and I asked him, I said, how do you go about tuning it? And he said you could pluck it with your left hand and then tune it, so that'll work. But what I found worked for me is the best thing. I'm so used to doing this, is I'll tune like this, and I'll bring my other hand around here and tune the E, A, and D strings. So if I want to tune the E string, I go, and then I tune it, right? But if I want to tune the other strings, the most useful way I found was to put the guitar like that and kind of, and then tune the other strings. I can actually do the E, A, and D, but I find that because of where my hand is to hold the instrument, you get used to it. I talked to a luthier friend about this. I took this to him and I said, hey, what do you think of this? And he kind of went, first he went, wow, what is it? And I was like, it's a Pearson Hyper S, made by this guy in Rotorua in New Zealand. And he checked it out and he said, wow, actually, like, surprisingly, a lot of the things work. Well, one thing he talked about that I hadn't considered is because this is made of plastic, it doesn't, like it's an acrylic, it doesn't expand and contract like wood does, right? Normally on a wood body it expands and contracts, and that's when you're more likely to get, whenever anything moves, that's when you get issues, right? Now it does have a wooden neck, so that can expand and contract, but roasted maple even less, right? Because it's dried out to a point, to such a degree that this is not going to move too much, and this doesn't move at all. That actually tuning is actually really good, and because it has locking tuners, there's no movement at that point. There's no real movement in the body in terms of expansion and contraction. Really, it's the only thing that could move is the neck, and that's not likely to. So I found tuning to actually be really good. Like, it just stays there. There's no trem. It's got this bridge, which is kind of, it kind of reminds me of the old Ibanez harmonica bridges. They used to call them a harmonica because they were really wide and big, gave you a lot of tuning. So would I recommend this guitar? It depends. It depends on who for. Someone who's a very traditional kind of player doing jazz gigs, I'd say it's not for you, right? To me, the strengths of this guitar are in overdrive sounds, not so much in clean sounds. You can, as you'd heard, you can do clean sounds, but to me, it's like the strength of it is in overdrive because of the construction, right? So I'd say if you're someone who plays with a lot of overdrive, then I'd say this could be a really good option for you. If you're someone who wants a 24 fret guitar, this could be a good option for you. If you're someone who kind of wants something very futuristic, then this is the way to go, right? If you're someone who's more a traditionalist and going to play clean a lot, I'd say there are better options. And you probably know that already anyway. You're not in the market for this sort of guitar if that's how you play. To me, this would suit kind of fusion-y players, like someone like Pliny would be the kind of player that I'd say might gravitate towards this, or kind of metal or rock guys. Like, it's a really good rock guitar. Really does that sort of sound really well, you know, which is overdriven rock guitar sound. So that's who I'd suggest this was for. As I said, it's really refreshing to see somebody doing something new, and I applaud Dom for that. I think it's awesome. If you want to get one of these, you can. I'll leave an affiliate link below. A few bucks gets kicked back to me. It's nice that Dom does that. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing the Pearson Hyper S guitar. Dom sent this to me. This is actually my guitar, so that's why I'll click the sponsored link if you want to do that. So take this all with a grain of salt, but that's just my opinion on this guitar. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.